I'm going to combine. So we've got 2 minutes. Yes, to 7. We're starting at 7. Oh, glad you could join us. So I'm at 7:57. Sorry, 6:57. I know what I mean. I think this might be more theatrical though somehow.
Where's your wingman? I'd be in the water by now if that was the case.
We would have crashed.
I would have crashed in perfect.
Was there a beetle with us? Tough. Half of everything footy clubs here. Must be free booze afterwards.
Very supportive. Yeah.
They'll be back stage 2. Oh.
All right, we're going to start in 1 minute.
How long will it be?
Heather, notes there. That being 7 o'clock. God. It's 7 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. Terrific to see you all here. Welcome to tonight's statutory meeting. We will get underway. First part of tonight's meeting is quite procedural, so excuse me while I do refer to notes as we start tonight's proceedings, but again, a warm welcome to you. And certainly good evening and welcome to the councillors here tonight for our statutory meeting, and also welcome to those in the gallery here this evening. Item 1 is the appointment of the CEO as the temporary chair for tonight's meeting. As you are aware, the mayoral term ceased at 6 a.m. today, and a temporary chair is to be appointed until the mayor is elected this evening. The temporary chair will preside over the following agenda items this evening: the opening prayer, the re-signing of the Councillor Code of Conduct 2017, the recognition to the outgoing mayor, the term of the mayor, the election of the mayor, and the congratulatory remarks to the mayor and the mayoral response. So, councillors, can I have a mover that council appoint myself as the temporary chair of this meeting until a mayor is elected? I have Councillor Khan as the mover and a second to councillors, Councillor Villagonzalo. I now put this to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? Thank you. The motion is carried. So again, welcome everyone. It's really terrific to see you all here. This is certainly one of the most important meetings that we have each year at Council, and as always, it's wonderful to welcome you as the gallery here this evening to join with our councillors for our statutory meeting where we appoint the Mayor and Deputy Mayor of Wyndham City Council. So in the spirit of reconciliation, before we begin the meeting tonight, I acknowledge the people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional owners on which Wyndham is built. We pay our respects to both their elders, past, present and future, and would now ask that we all stand for the prayer. We pray for your guidance in the Council's decision making to achieve the best outcome for the people of Wyndham. Thank you. Please be seated. So some of you tonight will have seen the notices in the foyer just advising that this meeting is actually being recorded. As some of you may be aware, Wyndham City Council is one of the councils in Victoria who do actually live stream all of our council meetings. So you will actually possibly be filmed at tonight's meeting. So just you need to be aware of that, and your presence as such may be recorded tonight. So we've got a webcam up here recording tonight's proceedings. So I'll move to item number 3 on the agenda, which is the re-signing of the Councillor Code of Conduct. So on February 7, 2017, Council resolved to adopt a Councillor Code of Conduct referred to affectionately as the Code, which addresses the good conduct and governance principles to which councillors are bound. Can I please have a mover for the motion that councillors will re-sign and declare that they will abide by the Councillor Code of Conduct dated 7th of February 2017. I have Councillor Tony Hooper as the mover and a seconder, Councillor Kim McAloney. Thank you. I now put this to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? Thank you, councillors. That motion is carried. I will now move to the front of the table where we'll go through a formal process of each councillor being invited up to sign the Councillor Code of Conduct. And councillors, as part of that process tonight, we will need you to actually speak and again confirm your commitment to the Councillor Code of Conduct, and you will sign that in my presence and I'll co-sign that this evening. So if I could perhaps move to the front, and I will read out the councillors' names in alphabetical order this evening. So I shall pop out to the front now and do that. So, councillors, the first councillor this evening to come and commit to the Councillor Code of Conduct and sign is Councillor Aaron Arn.
I, Aaron An, hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Wyndham City Council adopted on the 7th February 2017, and I declare that I will abide this code.
Thank you, Councillor Arn. I'll now invite Councillor Henry Barlow to sign the Councillor Code.
I hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct from Wyndham City Council, adopted on the 7th of February 2017, and declare that I will abide by this code.
Thank you, Councillor Barlow. I'll now call upon Councillor John Gibbons.
Councillors Code of Conduct 2017. The Councillor Code of Conduct 2017, the Code addresses the statutory requirements set out in Section 76C of the Local Government Act 1989. Namely, it includes councillor Conduct Principles establishes a process for resolving disputes between councillors and includes matters relating to the conduct of councillors and considers appropriate. I hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Wyndham City Council adopted on the 7th of February 2017 and declare that I will abide by this code.
I just need you to sign here. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Gibbons. I'll now call on Councillor Josh Gilligan.
I, Joshua Luke Gilligan, hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Wyndham City Council, adopted on the 7th of February 2017, and declare that I will abide by this code.
Thank you, Councillor Gilligan. I'd now like to call up Councillor Tony Hooper.
I, Tony Hooper, hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Wyndham City Council adopted on 7th of February 2017 and declare that I will abide by this code.
Thank you for that, Councillor Hooper. I'd now call on Councillor Intaj Khan.
I, Intaj Khan, hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Wyndham City Council adopted on 7th of February 2017, and I declare that I will abide by this Code of Conduct.
Thank you, Councillor Khan. I'd now call on Councillor Heather Marcus.
Thank you, Kelly. I hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for the Wyndham City Council adopted on the 7th of February 2017 and declare that I will abide by this code.
Thank you, Councillor Marcus. I'll now call upon Councillor Peter Maynard.
I, Peter John Maynard, hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Wyndham City Council, adopted on 7th February 2017, and declare that I will abide by this code.
Thank you, Councillor Maynard. I'll now call upon Councillor Kim McAlini.
I, Kim McAlini, hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Wyndham City Council adopted on the 7th of February 2017 and declare that I will abide by this code.
Thank you, Councillor McAlini. We'll now move to Councillor Mia Shaw. Thank you.
I, Mia Shaw, hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Wyndham City Council adopted on 7 February 2017 and declare that I will abide by this code.
Thank you, Councillor Shaw. And finally, we have Councillor Walter Villagonzalo.
I, Walter Villagonzalo, hereby declare that I have read the Councillor Code of Conduct for Wyndham City Council adopted on 7 February 2017 and declare that I will abide by this code.
Thank you, Councillor Villagonzalo. So that concludes our signing tonight of the Councillor Code of Conduct. So we will recommence the meeting back at the chair. So councillors and those in the gallery this evening, this is at the point in the meeting tonight where we recognise the outgoing mayor, in this case our mayor, Councillor Henry Barlow. So I will present a medallion to our outgoing mayor, Councillor Henry Barlow. So I will ask you, Henry, to come to the front again. Councillor Barlow, this medallion is provided in recognition of your service as Mayor over the last 12 months. I speak on behalf of all of the Wyndham City Council staff when I thank you for your contribution over the last 12 months. It's been terrific working with you, and we've certainly spent a lot of time really advocating for the needs of the city, both here and obviously in Canberra and at Spring Street in Victoria as well, prosecuting those issues that we have a strong evidence base around in terms of those key city priorities. So I appreciate your contribution to the last 12 months as Mayor and wish you well for the future.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Kelly. I'll just grab, I'm not as young as I used to be, and I think my memory is maybe a little lapsing. Very simply, I said at the beginning, 12 months ago, that it's a great honour to be the mayor of this wonderful city, one in which I've lived in for 51 years. Started off with about $10,000. There's 230 plus thousand now. We keep going this way. 15, 16 years time, we'll have over 400,000 and we'll be bigger than Canberra. I also said 12 months ago that if we only worry about roads, rate and rubbish, the potholes, the overhanging tree branch, how high is the grass cut on your local park, I thought as a city, we're not going to go very far. We have to look at least 20 years in advance as to what do we want this city to be, not only for us, like myself, who will be in our old and elderly age, but also for the families and the kids that are going to be following us. And it was interesting while I was in Barcelona last week that a number of different speakers at the different seminars and that we went are not only looking at their cities, 20 years in advance, but some are looking 40 and 50. And in fact, in China, they actually are looking at what will their cities and their country look like in 100 years' time. And that's very far-reaching, because if you're constantly looking down at the road in front of you, you'll never see what's ahead of you and you'll never get to it. So I think that this council has actually become a go-to council because of the fact we don't worry maybe so much about the little things, some people do, but we're looking at what do you want for your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids in the years to come. And I think that we've been very successful in doing that. We're on the map. We have only last week, while we were away, we had a Chinese delegation here, very successfully brought to us by Kate Roffey, who was there a couple of months ago, Kate. And they came here looking at a range of opportunities, whether they be business, educational or social. And I think that that's the type of thing we need to know. We're a global organisation. We have many people living here from many countries. And so we are a go-to place for people who, and we spoke about this previously, about people who are actually interested in doing business with maybe businesses from their old countries. So it's great to be able to be in a municipality that's between two airports, 20 minutes to the wharfs, the future home of Bay West, which is going to be the second container port in Australia, or in Victoria, and the number of jobs that we're going to create. And I think that we've achieved that, and we've put Wyndham on the map. And only the recalcitrants are going to hold us back from eventually achieving the type of city that we want for our future. I did say at the 12 months ago, I apologised to my wife when she found out I was going to be the mayor again, because she's been through this before, and you do spend a lot of time away from home. I think my record was something like 22 days straight at doing something for the council at one stage. And quite often, unlike the young family that we once had, it's an adult family with grandkids now. And so, Pam, I apologised 12 months ago, but you're not going to be too happy. I'm going to be home a bit more often now. So I'll try to stay out of your way and just let you get on and do what you normally do. To my fellow councillors, thank you for a very good year. Have we always agreed on everything? No, we haven't. Like a family, you don't agree with everybody. Did we have our barneys? Probably not as many as I thought we would, because, to be honest, in the 5th term of council that I've been on, I don't think I've ever been in a group that's been so individually different to each other. And when you've got 11 individuals who don't have the same sort of background that maybe a lot of the old Werribee councillors did in the past or whatever, we knew. Some have only been residents for 2, 3, 4 years. Some of us have been residents, such as Gibbo, I'm sorry, John, Councillor Gibbons, Councillor Marcus, and myself, who have been around since the 60s and 70s. So when you bring a group of 11 individuals together, how do you create a team? And it's not easy. It's not easy to create a team. Many sporting groups in the past have spent a lot of money in putting together a team that is a group of great individuals, but they're not a team at the end of the day, and they never go on to win the premiership. I'd like to think that what we've got is a group of individual councillors who do work together as a team the very great majority of the time, and that's all you can ask for. The executive team, Kate, Stephen, Jenny, I forget now, Jenny, whether you're a director, the mayor, the CEO, whatever. Jenny's filled in a lot of different roles. Binda, and of course, Natalie, and of course, the person who actually runs over 1,200 staff in a $500 million business, and that's what it is. It's a business that provides services. And Kelly, thank you for your efforts. You are very good at what you do. And what I love about you more than anything is that you're visionary. You're not scared to take a risk. Risk takers sometimes fail. In the great majority of cases, they succeed. If you don't take a risk, we will tend to live the way that we lived in the 1950s. We don't want to live the way we lived in the past. If that's what you want, you probably should move to Balan or Dalesford or one of those country towns that doesn't go backwards. All right? However, Maryborough? Well, I haven't been to Dalesford in 20 years. It was a country town the last time I went. Oh, is it? Oh. Remember, Pam, we used to go Lake Jubilee, camping with the kids on the lake there. Had to teach them how to fish and swim. I don't know what's wrong with Dalesford. Anyway, okay, yeah. And the lakeside restaurant there is very good. Anyway, so the council staff in particular, I want to mention 4 names. You shouldn't mention names, but I want to mention 4 names. And it's Anna O'Neill, Jodie Cowland, Candice Brown and Dennis Alakis. And those 4 ladies help the councillors and myself as the mayor, past me, actually do our job. If it wasn't for them, it would be very hard. And I'll give you an example. Where are you, Anna? Oh, there she is, up there. I came in about 8 months ago, and Anna stopped me at the office, and she said, "Henry, I need to speak to you." And I thought, oh, this is serious. So we went into the office, and she said, "Henry, I want to give you some advice." And I will listen to advice. I can't say I'll always take it, but I will listen. And Anna said, "Henry, don't go on any more committees." She said, "I'm finding it very hard to even slot in half-hour meetings for people that want to see you. So promise me, no more committees." And I said, yes, didn't I? And did I go on any more committees? Yeah, I think I did, yeah. But anyway. So I do listen sometimes. But, and lastly, I want to thank the community. In particular, the members of our portfolio committees, our district advisory committees, and every other committee that, that comes through council. I want to thank the 230 plus residents, including the ones who have a crack at us on Facebook or in the paper or whatever the case may be. For every person who actually is committed to this community, you're all entitled to a view and an opinion. Whether it's right or wrong is irrelevant at the end of the day, but you're entitled to an opinion. So, that finishes my very short speech, and you'll be lucky that actually, I feel sorry for a lot of people because going to the backbench, you're allowed to debate. Lucky there's a time limit.
Thank you. Outgoing Mayor, Councillor Henry Barlow. So I will now resume my seat, and we'll invite councillors to make some remarks for the outgoing Mayor, Councillor Henry Barlow. So councillors, I'll just quickly rush back here and would ask those councillors who are wanting to speak, recognising the outgoing Mayor. Yes, we do, I'm afraid. So councillors, I will ask, could I have a speaker, please? So Councillor Kim McAlani.
Thank you, Madam CEO. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate Henry. Taking on first term of a new council isn't an easy task. Having come back after an 8-year break from council, going from 7 councillors to 9 councillors to 11 councillors, and in that 8-year break, we had over 100,000 new residents. And instead of approximately 30 babies a year, we're now at 87 babies being born a week. As you've just said, it's not just about roads, rates and rubbish, and I probably wouldn't be here either if it was just simply that. We are now leaders in the local government sector. Only tomorrow we will be competing in Sydney with the Australian Resilient Cities Award in emergency management. So I hope to be coming home with an award tomorrow. Cross fingers. You have represented the city with passion, commitment, with the Wyndham community as #1 priority at all times. Experience and knowledge, and living in Wyndham for over 51 years. In 1996, certainly you were given a head start to this term with your experience, and you've previously served as a mayor in 2001 and 2004. a total of 5 terms, which is remarkable. You've provided us with guidance and leadership to all of us during the most challenging times this year, particularly during the Youth Detention Centre in the early days of our term. I think it was January. You represented us in Canberra in a delegation to advocate to the federal MPs and the opposition. You've recently just come back from Barcelona and went straight to the National Growth Alliance Population Growth Summit and spent the last few days there. You've worked with the Catalyst sites and you've advocated at state and with the state government and opposition. And as I said, most recently in Barcelona, which I believe you'll be bringing a report back to this chamber next month. From personal discussions with Henry, the Barcelona trip was exciting, and the contacts he's made in regards to waste to energy, the trade shows, and also meeting a delegation from Finland who years ago were one of the education cities, which is exactly what we want to be in the future, and work with the Australian Education Centre. It's also a great opportunity to showcase this city on smart cities, which my understanding only 2 councils from Australia attended. I've sat in meetings with Henry with complete confidence, and I know the staff have also, of your ability to advocate and champion for the city's needs with both sides of politics, major stakeholders on a myriad of issues this city faces, and we do face a lot of issues. The reading preparation and the ability to juggle a busy commitment schedule isn't an easy task for a mayor. We have worked extremely well together during this term. I have enjoyed being the deputy immensely. Never once did we argue. We had a few robust discussions and a few, I don't want to be rude, Henry, but it always came back to what was best for the city, but we actually never argued. As you're aware, Henry, and in recent public statement I made, I had my full support behind Henry for another year, because you've led this city with the respect of both councillors and the organisation, but that's not meant to be. I know you are now looking forward to some time with the family and moving seats in the chamber, as you alluded to, and having some interesting debate in the chamber in the future, which you couldn't have while chairing. So congratulations on a great year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McAliney. I will invite other councillors to make an address. Any others? Thank you, Councillor.
Yeah, I'm just going to say something. No, it's not for you, mate. It's for Pam. Look, Pam, I have to say it takes a lot of courage to step up in politics, stand behind this microphone and put yourself out there. And it takes a lot more courage to be the person behind the wheel, to give the support, the strength and love that they need to do that. So given how much of a good bloke this is, I have to say thank you very much for sharing him with the community, and I look forward to seeing how he goes with his debating us in the chamber. Thank you very much.
Councillors, if there are no further comments, I will, that provides a wonderful, Councillor Tony Hooper, segue into a presentation to Pam. If I could ask Anna to present flowers to Pam, just as an acknowledgement of the commitment that you've made as well to the council over the past 12 months. So well done, Pam. Thank you for your commitment. So, councillors, it's also fitting at this point in this evening's proceedings to acknowledge the outgoing Deputy Mayor, Councillor Kim McAliney. So, in doing so, I'll ask Anna to come back again and present our Deputy Mayor, Kim McAliney, with some flowers on behalf of the entire City of Wyndham. Thank you. And I will invite councillors to speak of thanks, really, in regards to Councillor McAliney as outgoing Deputy Mayor. So I have Councillor Henry Barlow.
I deliberately, in my speech before, didn't mention Kim by name because I preferred to talk about councillors as a team, as a group of people. And thank you, Kim, for that speech. You read it very well, and I'm glad I wrote it for you. But, because, you know, I did write it, didn't I? No. I must admit, a mayor sometimes is usually only as good as the councillors and the deputy mayor that they have. And I was so happy when Kim got nominated as the deputy mayor last year, because I know she comes from a background of not only experience in local government, but experience in private enterprise and business and in the social sector as well. So that's a rare mix for people. Some people basically spend their whole lives in business or in the social service sector, and some people actually almost make a life of being on council. So I was very happy, and Kim, I couldn't have asked for a better deputy mayor. And sometimes Kim's on a number of boards. She's got her own private life that she leads, and there were times when you'd ring her up and say, look, I've been called in, I've got to go to Spring Street tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Can you go and do X, Y, Z for me? And 99% of the time, she was able to somehow either cancel one of her own meetings or whatever and make that sacrifice. And you got flexibility in your life. You lead a very busy life, but you had the flexibility to be able to drop things off, move things around, and to be there. And I want to thank you very deeply. You deserve the flowers, and actually you probably deserve a lot more. So thank you for your support over the last 12 months.
Thank you, councillors. We'll now move to item number 5 on tonight's agenda, and that is the term of the mayor. So as provided by section 71(2) of the Local Government Act 1989, council may elect a mayor for a term of 1 or 2 years. Could I please have a motion to determine the term of the mayor? A motion, councillors. Councillor Intaj Khan.
1 year.
Councillor Khan, are you moving 1 year?
1 year.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Gibbons. I'll put this to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? The motion's carried. Councillors, we'll now move to item 6 of the agenda this evening, and probably the most important agenda item of tonight's meeting, and that is the election of the mayor for the 2017-2018 year. In conducting the election this evening, I'd like to draw your attention to the mayoral election procedure as detailed in the Governance Local Law at Clause 8, and remind councillors, when voting, they must put their hand up clearly in the air. The councillors' names and who they are voting for will be read out. If there is an equality of votes, a lot with the ping pong balls will be required, and we do have those tucked down here just in case. The councillor with the majority of votes cast will be declared and elected. So without further ado, councillors, I will now call for nominations for the election to the office of the Mayor of Wyndham City Council for a period of 2017 to 2018. And I have Councillor John Gibbons.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Councillor Peter Maynard.
Thank you, Councillor Gibbons. Do I have a seconder for this nomination? Councillor Khan. Do you, Councillor Maynard, accept the nomination?
I do, Madam CEO.
So Councillor Maynard accepts the nomination. Thank you. Councillors, do I have any further nominations? No further nominations, councillors? There being no further nominations, I hereby declare Councillor Maynard Mayor of Wyndham City Council for the next 12 months. So, councillors, I'm just looking at Councillor Khan. Have you got a question?
I was thinking, Chair, to maybe ask for the voting in that sort of procedure.
Sure, I'm happy to.
If
I'm,
anyone
no,
wants
I'm
to
happy,
abstain, they can remain abstain.
happy to do so. So in
Thank you.
terms of
Thank you,
moving
Chair.
forward, just so we're clear procedurally, we've only had one nomination for the mayor. So I'm certainly happy on that basis to go back and be clear about those voting in support of Councillor Peter Maynard this evening, although the reality is that we only have one mayor that's been nominated. So really, in terms of our meeting procedure, that is in fact the result. So my next step for this evening was actually to declare Councillor Peter Maynard the Mayor of Wyndham City Council. So congratulations to Councillor Peter Maynard. So councillors, I will now ask Councillor Peter Maynard to assume the chair. We will firstly, however, provide the gown and go through the formal motion of providing that. And then I'll call upon you, Councillor Peter Maynard, now Mayor, to provide a speech also.
Here we go.
So congratulations. We'll now get you to read the oath of the office and then you can present your speech. So we'll do that at the front.
That's the affirmation. It's right there on the right.
So thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will get you now to just state your name and read the affirmation of the office.
I, Peter John Maynard, accept and undertake the duties of Mayor, Wyndham City Council for the agreed term of 1718, commencing this day. I understand that I've been elected by my fellow councillors as the leader of the council and chief advocate for the Wyndham community, to take precedence at all municipal proceedings with a commitment to inclusiveness and support of my fellow councillors. In accepting this responsibility, I uphold council's values of community focus, commitment, integrity, leadership, respect and teamwork. Further, I subscribe and pledge my commitment to the role of Mayor in supporting the Council's Code of Conduct and the principles of the governing Wyndham framework, which include governing for and with the community, promoting collaboration between the Council, its staff and the community, supporting the provision of procedural fairness in decision making, providing guidance and support for all my fellow councillors, ensuring respectful conduct and a high standard of debate at council meetings, and collaborating with the CEO to support resolution of disputes internally. In making this undertaking, I call on my fellow councillors to offer me their support and counsel.
Thank you, Councillor Maynard, and Mr. Mayor, congratulations.
chair already. It's all mine then.
So, Mr Mayor, before I hand over the chair to you this evening, it's only fitting that you provide an acceptance speech. So, over to you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Madam CEO. Being the elected mayor of this city is an honour, and I have now had the privilege of this honour twice. I must first thank my councillor colleagues for putting their faith in me and electing me mayor. As mayor, I am considered the leader of the councillor group. However, the leader is only as good as the rest of the team that they lead. I can honestly say we have an outstanding councillor group that is supported by just as outstanding an executive leadership group of council directors and managers. I would also like to thank all council employees, from the school crossing supervisor all the way up to Kelly, our CEO, for the effort and support they continually provide to make this city the leader that it is in local government in Victoria. Depending on the cycle of moon we are in, we're either the fastest or second fastest growing city on this continent. With an average of 90 babies born per week to Wyndham mothers, and I must say God bless them all, every week, to the 165 or so people that move into this city per week. I pledge to bring my passion to see this city and its residents achieve the best results possible now and in the future through working hand in hand with councillors and council staff. And I have to say that when I sit in the chamber and make a decision on an item, I think, how would this affect my family? The reason I do this is because I consider all residents of Wyndham one big family, and what affects one affects us all. Like my family, and Henry touched on it before, we will not always agree on everything. However, collectively, councillors and staff can achieve great things by acting as a cohesive and well-oiled unit with our residents. I do agree sometimes the wheels wobble a bit, excuse me, but when that occurs, we will, as a city and community, pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off and get on with meeting our challenges head on with factual evidence and a Wyndham conviction that is second to none. I would also like to thank my wife, Lucy, my 4 children, Nathan, Lucas, Jared and Kira, and their respective partners, and to date, our 6 wonderful grandchildren. For still talking to me, despite not always being around when family events are on. However, I know I didn't open my wallet either. However, I do my best to attend as many as possible, and they understand that. To the residents of Wyndham, I say this. This council has always and will always continue to put the best interests of the community at the forefront of what we do with evidence-based decisions. In recent times, you may have heard or read in that Wyndham City in the next 17 years is going to need the following: 26 new kindergartens, 20 primary schools, and 6 secondary schools. Our recently released sports strategy states, and I like to talk about the sports strategy because I'm the portfolio holder, that over the next 27 years, the capital spend on sport and sports facilities in this municipality will be around $971 million. Approximately $450 million of that will need to come from council. The rest will come from developer contributions and relevant government grant money. We are also soon to see much needed road upgrades to the value of $1.8 billion in our municipality, which includes forward provisions of $600 million for ongoing maintenance to these roads. This has come at long last, and after many, many years of hard work by successive council and council staff. To the state government, we say thank you, but this will just scratch the surface when you consider our vast infrastructure shortfalls. However, we will still continue to develop strategies to work with governments of the day, both state and federal, to advocate for our residents and this city. We will advocate strongly for a fair share of the capital spend from their future budgets to provide our residents with the basic infrastructure we need to ensure our daily lives are the most productive they can be. And finally, I offer this to my councillor colleagues and the community. In performing my duties as Mayor, they will be carried out with passion, honesty and hard work. Thank you.
So, Mr Mayor, before getting on with business this evening, it's appropriate to invite councillors to comment and congratulate the incoming Mayor for 2017-2018. So I will invite councillors to give comments of congratulation. Councillor Khan.
Thank you, Madam CEO, and congratulations, Mr Mayor Peter Maynard. And I have worked and last term been privileged to work with you as a councillor, and I'm glad to see that you've taken an opportunity to be second time a mayor. And the last term, my experience now, I can talk about the previous term and this term. I think you work very passionate with a number of the sport, and you're passionate about it, and background for what community needs it. So I'm glad that the person who have taken out the job, the person who works really hard, and yeah, we'll look forward to work with you. Once again, congratulations being the mayor of this city.
Thank you, Councillor Khan. Any other congratulatory remarks? Thank you, Councillor Henry Barlow.
Thank you, Madam CEO. Mr Mayor, I'm very pleased to see you as the Mayor for the next 12 months. If it's for one reason and one reason only, everyone needs a mayor for only a very short period of time, and you need to spend an awful lot of time away from family, as you've said. And I know you've had the same issues I did, doing citizenship ceremonies when your grandchild's having a birthday, and you'll end up going there late. But why should you be any different to the grandkids than you were with your own kids? If something was prioritised, and I know that you will do the job 24/7, and you will take that extra step to make sure that you will prioritise in your life. But I know you, Peter, I think the next 12 months, your priority will probably be here at council, doing the job that you've done well before. So I wish you all the best in the next 12 months.
Thanks, Councillor Henry Barlow. Any other remarks before we move on? Okay, thank you, councillors, and a round of applause and congratulations again to Maynard, our new Mayor. And over to you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Madam CEO. Councillors, the next item on the agenda is item 9, appointment of a Deputy Mayor for the term 2017-2018. Councillors, can I have nominations, please? Councillor John Gibbons.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Mia.
There's a hand up, I think. Sorry.
I saw over here a hand, so I'll take that first.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Mia.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Well, that's not what it says here. Does it? The Mayor to oh, my apologies. My apologies. I mucked up. Thank you, Celia. Okay, so I'm calling for a motion to appoint a Deputy Mayor first. My apologies. Councillors? Councillor Gibbons?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Mia.
No, just to have a Deputy Mayor.
Deputy Mayor.
Deputy Mayor.
Only.
I move.
Thank you, Councillor Barlow. A seconder, please. Councillor Arnn. All those in favour?
No.
We're voting to elect a position of Deputy Mayor.
Okay, well, I'd like to make a nomination.
No, we're nominating the position first.
Okay.
So all those in favour of electing the position of Deputy Mayor? Hands up. That's not a hard question.
Mr Mayor, can I have a point of clarification?
You certainly can, Councillor Khan.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. My colleague, Councillor Heather Marcus, put up a hand. I think she have a bit confused. I think she's seeking some foreshadow. So can I have a clarification?
No, point of order. The Mayor is just calling for a motion to elect the Deputy Mayor. Then it will go into appointing the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Is that clarification, Councillor Khan?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It's clear now.
So now, to elect.
I do have a point of clarification. Is that in relation to a, as in a singular?
Yes, a deputy mayor, as per our rules and regulations, as it says here on the cheat sheet.
Local laws.
All good? We all good? So now, for the second time, all those in favour of electing the position of deputy mayor? Yes or no? Well, hands up so I can see them, please. Hands up so I can see them, please.
And I'm trying to work out what the hell's going on here right now, so.
No, we are electing.
Councillor
We can put in
Hooper.
an alternate motion after.
Councillor Hooper. Right. It's for the position of deputy mayor, not the person. Now, for the third time, are you abstaining, Councillor Gilligan?
I am, because I support two deputy mayors, so I will be abstaining.
You're abstaining, Councillor Hooper?
On that point, yes.
Councillor Khan, you're abstaining?
On that point, yes.
And Councillor Marcus, you're abstaining. Boy. And Councillor Villingham.
Oh, no, yeah, all right.
So, those against?
So we need to put an alternate.
No. You're not, no. Meeting procedure says we elect a deputy mayor. Currently, that's what we're going to be doing, electing a position of a deputy mayor. It can't be any clearer.
But then we will move an alternate.
That's
motion.
later on. So can we get it right, please?
No, but then we'll
So for the fourth time,
vote for this.
can we please, as a show of hands, indicate if we're going to elect the position of deputy mayor?
Yes.
Okay. Hallelujah.
Want me to bring my cravings and stuff?
Oh, thank you very much. Now I call for nominations for election of deputy mayor. Councillor Marcus.
I would like to move a motion to appoint Councillor Villa-Gonzalo as a deputy mayor.
So, sorry, they've changed the sheet, so I'm writing it down. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Khan. Councillor Villa-Gonzalo, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councillors, do I have any further nominations? Councillor Gibbons.
To nominate Councillor Mia Shaw.
Okay. Seconder, please. Councillor McElhaney. Councillor Shaw, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Councillors, we have two nominations. So, all those who support the nomination of Councillor Walter Villa-Gonzalo as Deputy Mayor, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All those, please, who support the nomination of Councillor Mia Shaw for Deputy Mayor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Councillor Villa-Gonzalo, I declare that you are duly elected Deputy Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to call for a division, please.
Thank you, Councillor Shaw. Councillors, for those who voted for Councillor Villa-Gonzalo, please raise your hand. Councillor Josh Gilligan, Councillor Walter Villa-Gonzalo, Councillor Heather Marcus, Councillor Aaron Arn, Councillor Tony Hooper and Councillor Intaj Khan. For those who supported Councillor Shaw, Councillor John Gibbons, Councillor Kim McElhaney, Councillor Henry Barlow, Councillor Peter Maynard and Councillor Mia Shaw. Thank you. Cool.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to flag that we vote for, not tonight, a deputy mayor. So
For a deputy mayor.
for a second deputy mayor.
And Councillor Khan, I'm just seeking
For a
clarification.
second deputy mayor.
Thank you. So we
So
have.
will you give me the indulgence of?
I will, Councillor Marcus. Yes.
Okay. First of all, I would like to congratulate Councillor Villa-Gonzalez, but I'll read this other motion first before or recommendation before I give my congratulations. As we all know, a deputy mayor is a very important position, and while we have appointed one deputy mayor at the meeting tonight, I consider that there could be a benefit of having 2 deputy mayors for this fast-growing city. Currently, our local law provides only for the 1 deputy mayor to be elected. So I wish at this point to foreshadow that I am calling for a review of the local law at the next ordinary council meeting on the 5th of December 2017. This is something that I would have liked to have been able to consider this evening. However, notices of motions are not able to be included as part of the agenda in this evening, as it is a statutory meeting of council. The review of the local law includes a community consultation phase. So I would like to request that the council officers provide recommendations at the December 5th ordinary council meeting outlining required local law amendments to elect the establishment and election of a 2nd deputy mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marcus. Councillor, is there any other discussion on this matter before we proceed? Yes. Councillor Gillingham.
Well, the point that I'd like to make is obviously congratulating the new deputy mayor, and what a historic election this is, in the sense of, so far as it is my understanding, this is the first Filipino that's been elected as the deputy mayor for Wyndham City Council, and a great example of the multiculturalism that we have here in the city of Wyndham. And indeed, I'll leave my remarks in large part in relation to a discussion around the local laws for the December 5th meeting, as is appropriate, given that that is likely to be the meeting upon which that decision is determined. But as I stated, I think this is a great result for our city, and I know that Councillor Villagonzalo will do a terrific job over the next 12 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Councillors, any further discussion? Councillor Shaw.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Firstly, congratulations, Councillor Villagonzalo, and I look forward to continuing to work with you over the next 12 months. But I will be brief. I am glad that the issue of the 2 deputy mayors has been raised tonight. I am very much looking forward to what our community actually has to say on this proposal, and I do encourage our residents to start providing their feedback to their ward councillors on the proposed foreshadow of a change to our local law for 2 deputy mayors. And for those who don't currently have our contact details, they actually can be found on our website. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Shaw. Councillor, is there any further discussion? Councillor McElhaney.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to concur with what Councillor Mayor Shaw has stated. However, I'd like to put on the record that I'm disappointed that we've actually gone down this track. 1 deputy mayor has been sufficient for the history of this city. I believe it's a waste of ratepayers' money, and I ask that any councillors that vote on this in the future...
Point of order. Is there actually a cost with this?
Excuse me, Councillor Hooper, can you please quote your point of order? What section?
Let's have a look.
Well, we haven't got long.
Relevance.
Oh, okay. No. A statement of facts are incorrect in regards to the deputy mayor role.
In which way?
Well, the cost impost to the city.
There will be an additional cost impost, Councillor Hooper, so your point of order is denied. Thank you. Carry on, Councillor McElhaney.
Point of clarification, Mr Mayor, how much is that? Is there been costings that have been done? Or?
No, that's when that's when yeah. So you are correct, because it hasn't changed yet. My apologies.
Thank you.
I actually got something wrong tonight.
Yeah, actually, Mr Mayor, there will be additional cost with the engagement of the community. I just want to put it on record that I find this quite disappointing that we've gone down this track for 2 deputy mayors. I don't understand the reason for it, and when we do go to vote, I would be interested to find out the reasons behind it, and not simply just vote on the motion tonight.
Thank you, Councillor McElhaney. Councillor Marcus, I'll give you the right of reply once we've exhausted.
Thank you very much.
Hang on, I think Councillor Khan wishes to have a word, so you'll get to close the commentary. Councillor Khan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a great way of expressing the city requires a 2 deputy mayor, and I'm pretty convinced with that proposing for 2 deputy mayor and change for the Local Government Act. I think I'm convinced with what just have been said by you, Mr. Mayor, saying that 85 babies born and 165 people moving to the city. City is getting bigger and bigger, and this is what is called historical changes we're making, and I'm glad that my fellow councillors, those who are in favour in future supporting this motion, will have the idea why we're supporting this, because this is not a new, this already had been done in Victoria State under the KC Council. So they already have 2 deputy mayor. So I have done some homework, and I am myself, personally in my view, I think it's great to see that, you know, we're going to go for path for 2 deputy mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Khan. Councillor, is there any further discussion against the motion? I mean, the commentary, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too am confused as to why you need 2 deputy mayors. We've got a city of 260,000, and yet Melbourne City, for example, we've got quoted Casey, who, you know, an interesting case study in Casey. And I'll save my debate on Casey for another day. But the city of Melbourne has, what, 1 million people? The biggest city in Victoria. And they seem to get on very, very well with 1 mayor, 1 deputy mayor. So I would need to be fully convinced that just because of the size of the number of people, and the fact that we've got portfolios, so every one of us looks after a section of the city. And we're quite capable, I'm quite capable as a portfolio holder to go to any meeting and make a speech and hand out my business card to people without needing a title of deputy mayor. And so, you know, I think if it's good enough for Melbourne, it's definitely good enough for the city of Werribee or Wyndham. And we shouldn't be looking at what's happening on the eastern side of Melbourne. We should actually be looking at maybe what our capital city is doing. And I'll save the rest of my debate with more facts in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you, Councillor Barlow. Councillors, any further discussion? No, Councillor Marcus, you wish to close the discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've looked at this very closely. I think that we are a very progressive city. I think we've got lots of exciting times in front of us. And I think it's a great opportunity now for this council to elect 2 deputy mayors. This would mean, as we all know, that many, many mayors are very busy with lots and lots of events to go to, and sometimes they just cannot manage, and neither can a deputy. So that leaves some of our public events not having a deputy mayor to attend. Yes, they can have councillors, but if you go out there amongst the people, they love to see their mayor or their deputy mayors. So I think as a progressive council, it's funny how the councillors are laughing at me here tonight. Thank you. I don't wish to be laughed at because I've been on this council 12 years. I come out and I am with the people of this city and lots of times. I spend up to 18 hours a day working. So to me, it is wonderful to think that a group of councillors now want to elect 2 deputies so that we can go across, and it is a great benefit to this city. And I think once the 2 deputies are installed, I think the people will come. My niece lives in a city who is a very intelligent young lady who is very connected to the council, and she loves having 2 deputy mayors to represent that whole city. So as far as I'm concerned, I just hope when the residents have a look to see that you will come to our next committee, ordinary council meeting, when we will decide on whether we have 2 mayors or not. And I ask everybody to come and to listen to what we have to say, or to do your homework before you get there. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would now like to offer my congratulatory remarks to Mr. Villa-Gonzalez.
Please continue, Councillor Marcus.
Walter, you and I have worked many, many years together, on many, many projects, and I think our biggest, most successful one was the Barbecue Festival. And Walter, I'd love to see it back because it was absolutely brilliant. I've watched Walter over the years. He's been very, very involved in so many different events with all of our cultural groups, with the Migrant Hub and everything else. And when Walter came on council 12 months ago, I watched Walter. I've watched him very closely, and I've watched Walter grow. And I think that's very important. I've watched Walter when he gets up to make a speech, and he is very precise, he's very clear, he has a wonderful projection. And I think everyone will be delighted, and I think he will work very closely with the Mayor. So Walter, you have my very best wishes. I will be there to help you at any time. Congratulations, Walter.
Councillors, any further commentary? Councillor Barlow.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got 12 months of not speaking to make up for, and I think I'm going to do it all in one night. Walter, congratulations on becoming Deputy Mayor. And I think it is great as the cultural diversity portfolio holder to see a diversity of people on this council. This is the most diverse council we've had in the history that I'm aware of. And I used to come to council meetings 40 years ago as a young man in my 20s, and it's great to see the mix. And the fact that we have someone of Filipino background is brilliant that you're able to be the Deputy Mayor. And I look forward to working with you. I know your passion. You've sat in my office as the previous mayor on numerous occasions, and we spoke about a great number of things. And I know you do work with passion, and I look forward to working with you into the future.
Thank you, Councillor Barlow. And I too, Councillor Gonzalo, add my congratulations to your appointment. Well done. Councillors, item 10 on the agenda is appointment to advisory committees. There are a number of committees which require councillor representation. A list of the committees has been circulated as part of the agenda for this meeting. An update of this document is also available this evening and has been circulated. Councillors, can I have a move of this item, please? Councillor Gilligan and Councillor Barlow. Councillors, can I have all those in favour? Against? The motion is carried. Item 11 is close of meeting. As there are no further items for tonight, it gives me great pleasure to invite everyone in attendance to join in the celebrations. And thank you, and I now declare the meeting closed. Well done.